up? This is Caroline with the CWC podcast, where we believe that life without your favorite foods is not worth living. I'm going to be talking a lot about my journey to food freedom, and of course I will always keep it real by sharing the good, the bad, and of course the ugly. We're live. We're officially live. This is my new setup. I will say that we are this is episode 20. I keep looking at, you're going to have to give me a minute because I am making sure, that's where I'm going to look. But I have my computer, I can see myself on my computer now, which is super helpful. So let me just get comfy because we're going to get make sure the lighting is okay. Okay. Episode 20. This is crazy. I can't believe that I don't know. I can't believe that we have this many done so far. It's really exciting. So I made sure that I have Freddie. You can see him right here. Freddie will be in all of the podcast episodes in some fashion. So today I didn't know what I wanted episode 20 to be about. I wanted it to be something commemorative. I didn't just want it to be a random episode. And I was trying to think of what could I talk about that is super personal, obviously, that, a lot of people could relate to. And I also wanted it to be a solo episode of just me, because I haven't done one of those in a while. It feels like we've just been filming guest after guest. And, I said, I've got the setup. It looks so much better now. I'll have to do a side-by-side comparison of episode number 1 versus episode number 20. I feel what's the word? We've come a long way. We've come a long way, production-wise. That was the word I was looking for. So I'm going to just jump right into this. I have my notes here. I've been making notes for this episode for a very long time. I knew that this episode would be coming at some point. I have been digging through photos and videos. I found some videos from I wouldn't even say this is from my drinking days. The video I found, I'm just fucking hammered. I'll have to tell you a really quick story about it. This video that I found that I want him to play right here is not a video from my darkest days. It was actually after I had started my transformation, but we were drinking. So I became an uber lightweight once I started my transformation because I stopped drinking. I stopped cold turkey. And so I would only drink on my cheat nights. So this was obviously a cheat night. So my sister was over, we were having fun. My hairdresser came over to do my hair. Well, then we were smoking too. And so I just forgot. I was having so much fun. I took one hit and got so fucked up. It was hilarious. So then my sister and my husband were taking videos of me the whole night. And this is one of those videos. I might actually have to send them a couple more. It was funny. It was funny. That was a fun night. Anyway, I digress. Getting back into the subject. I want this to be very informal. I don't want to of course I'm going to give advice at the end. I feel like that is something I always have to do now. I have to have a lesson. But obviously there will be a lesson. That's why I'm sitting here. So, alcoholism runs in my family. It runs in my family. My grandma used to wake up and make a cocktail. She would make a screwdriver in the morning. And there was 5 o'clock was cocktail hour. It was everywhere. It was everywhere even when I was little. I remember my dad had beer every night, and My mom never really drank, like, but it, like, on my dad's side of the family, it was prevalent, and that is who I predominantly take after genetically, is like my dad's side of the family. And so I just remember being kind of like warned, like, be careful, like, it runs in the family, like, be careful. And I was like, whatever. So for me, I feel like it was kind of already in my DNA to be predisposed to alcoholism, and being like so anxious as a child, and like struggling with the things I did, like, OCD, and just, I feel like what every kid struggles with, not fucking fitting in. It made it all the more appealing, when I was in high school. So I started at a very young age. And I mean, young age, probably 7th grade. I think 7th grade is when I started dabbling in like all that stuff. I just remember not ever feeling cool, and I wanted nothing more than to just fit in. So I remember we would go to my friend's house, and everyone would be drinking. And it was, well, we spent the majority of our time at one of my friend's houses, and I don't think I had ever like taken the plunge yet. I was scared. I remember being like, oh, do I want to do this? Like, what's going to happen? Like, what is it going to make me feel like? What am I going to do? And I remember the very first time I drank ever was at Edgefest. And oh my God, it was like the best night ever. I wish I could find the picture. I have one picture from that night. I will have to try to dig it out. And if I can find it, it's going to be fucking epic. But it was like the best night. It was so much fun. I got picked up by my friends, my guy friends, and we drove down to Mohawk Park. And we had, I think it was like Natty Light or Bush Light, but it was the first time I had ever drank anything. And it was so much fun. I was able to like completely be someone I never could prior. And that night was kind of like the beginning of the end for me, because I was like, wow, I can be this other person, like a better version of myself. And I was like so carefree. I was crowd surfing and like having the best time ever. And I was able to like really like all those things that like you don't let yourself be because you're afraid of what people are going to think about you or say about you. You let those things out, and you're like, I don't know. It's easy. Like you don't care as much. All of those inhibitions go out the window. And when you can tap into like a part of yourself that you don't show people, like there's something really powerful about that. However, that can get like, if you're using alcohol to do that, like it's a slippery slope, and which that's the story I'm about to tell you. So that was the very first night that I drank, and I just remember how free I felt. And I can't remember. I think I started after that. I started drinking at the parties because it was allowing me to like be carefree and laugh and not be so worried about what someone going to think about me if I say this. And I was more fun. In my opinion, I was a lot more fun to be around. I was always uber focused of what people thought about me if I wasn't drinking. So the drinking helped me just live, if that makes any sense. It just helped me live, like fucking take a breath and just be. Like if I wasn't under the influence of something, I had a very hard time just being. I don't know. I was always psychoanalyzing the situation and psychoanalyzing what someone was thinking about me or looking at me. And I know that I can't be the only one that was like that. So, and I also have a very addictive personality. I'm trying to go off my notes. I don't want to forget anything. So that covered basically when someone said, when did you start drinking and why? That's why. And that's when, very young age, 7th grade. So, it got bad. I drank and drove as a teenager. So stupid. Like I would freaking wring my kids' necks if I ever knew they did anything like that, any of this stupid fucking shit I did. But I did. And there was one time actually where I called my sister. I like taught my sister how to drive my stick shift. I had this red Honda Prelude. And so I'm sure I stuck out like a sore thumb in high school, like this blonde driving a red Prelude around town. I took my sister out and taught her how to drive a stick shift so that she could come and get me when I was like passed out at a party. And that actually happened. She came and got me one night and like we barely made it home because she was like, I mean, she didn't know, like really, I taught her that day, but then like she didn't really know how to drive it well, but she got me home safely. And what's funny is she told that story on a previous podcast episode. I don't even remember that. Like I vaguely remember that experience. If that shows you kind of how I was in high school, I was a mess. And I remember there was one point where it was my senior year. And I mean, I just thought I was like hot shit. Like no one could stop me. I was going to a school dance and I brought beer. Of course, I went and got like 30 pack and I put it in the back of my car and I was already drunk. So I walked into the school dance just again, like thinking I was like hot shit. And I remember seeing like whispers from some of the kids and they were like talking to the teachers. And so I immediately was kind of like on high alert, like, oh shit, they know I'm like drunk, but I was like too drunk to care. So I was like on the dance floor having the time of my life, like again, life of the party. And one of the security guards approached me and was like, hey, we need to go out to your car. And I was like, for what? And he was like, just come on, we got to go out. I got to go out to your car. And I was like, but why? And at that point, like I knew I was in trouble, but I was like, oh God, like maybe I can talk him out of this on the way out to the car. So we were walking out to the parking lot and the security guards at Memorial were like our friends. So like a lot of us, like they would like look the other way when we would leave to go get food. And I was like begging him. I was like, please don't do this. Please don't do this. Please don't do this. And we got to my car and he opened my back seat and I was like, shit. And at the time I didn't realize like what it meant that I had that in my car on school premise. Like I really didn't. I was like, just let me go. Like I'll go home. Take the beer if you need. I'll just drive home. And he was like, Caroline, I have to do this. And I was like, have to do what? And I got expelled. Had to go to street school for, I don't even remember how long. I don't remember how long we were in street school. Oh, it was me and another girl. I want to say it was like at least half the semester. It was a while. And that was kind of like my first like huge slap on the wrist. Like you can't just do what you want. You can't just like act a way that you want to act and not have repercussions for it. Like you're affecting others. That was my first like, oh shit moment. Because I was like, on the cheer squad. I was a flyer. It was my senior year. This was supposed to be like the best year of my life. And I pissed it away and got in trouble and had to go to street school. And street school was not fun. Like it wasn't fun. I was like the A+ student at street school. There were kids like having sex in the bathroom and like talking shit to the teachers and cursing the teachers out. Like I had never been in like a scenario like that. So I was scared going to school every day. But it was quite the wake up call. So I was just ready to get back to my school. And so when I got back to my school, I minded my P's and Q's. I did what I was supposed to do. But it wasn't the same. Like it wasn't the same that I thought it was going to be. Again, this was all my doing. And it didn't hit me just yet. So, there was a lot of things in between that happened. There was one night where I was at Josh's house. I was sleeping over at his house and my mom called. I'll never forget. It was 3:00 in the morning. We were pissed drunk, passed out, and we heard my mom's voice on the answering machine. And she was like, Caroline Bruza, get your ass up. And I want to know where you're at. And I want to know if you're safe. And some someone had broken into my car at Josh's house and like got my wallet out, drove like almost out of the addition that he lived in, and like I guess tossed my wallet out the window. And they stole a bunch of shit out of my car. Some guy like got up early to get the paper or I don't know, but found like my driver's license in his driveway. And so that he contacted my parents and they contacted me, and I was in deep shit. Another shining moment of just me not really giving a shit about anything other than myself. And so I got in trouble for that. I think I got grounded for the first time ever for that. I can't remember. No, that wasn't it. There's another time. I had a lot of run-ins with the cops when I was young. Damn. This is really like sobering to like say it. Like tell all these stories back to back. I got pulled over again another time, got taken to like juvenile hall. My parents had to come get me. I think that was the moment when I got like in big trouble at home for the first time. Like they grounded me for like a month. But like you would think I would have learned something from this. Like I hadn't learned anything. I hadn't learned my lesson. Because as soon as I was ungrounded, like I kept doing the same shit. And when I got older, like that transition from like when you're not like young and partying, but like you start hanging out with your friends, you have your own house, you know, it got, I don't want to say it got worse. It got worse because like what would happen would be like we would go out and I would get, I don't want to use the word violent, but like I would get really irrational towards the end of the night. And there was too many nights to count where, you know, what would happen is Caroline would be fine the first couple hours. I would have a couple drinks. I'd feel great, happy, have a wonderful time. And then there was always that line like right here. And like if I tipped past that line, it was like we weren't going back and no one was having a good time anymore. I would get extremely angry. So like the fun would turn to anger, and I would immediately either want to go home or I'd want to get out of the situation. And there was no reasoning with me. I would either want to go get food late at night. If we got something that I didn't like, I'd demand to go somewhere else. This happened a lot. This happened a lot. And I was not fun to be around for a long time. And I mean, I had issues with friendships because of how like crazy and erratic I was when I would drink. I had issues constantly with my sister. My sister could not stand to be around me when I would get like that. She wouldn't even talk to me. I remember one specific night that we were at the club and I was acting like a fucking idiot. And she like wouldn't even look at me. She was like, I just want to go home. Like, I don't even want to be here, like be around you and witness this. Like, I can't be around you. So of course, it's always the people who are closest to you that suffer the most. So it would be Josh and my sister. And there's one specific night, and this was a question, basically like, what's the worst experience that you had regarding alcohol? So I'm going to talk about this one because it was kind of like this. It was kind of a turning point. I was so drunk. I had gone out with my girlfriends, came home, started just screaming at Pooh Bear. I don't even remember what I was saying. Hateful things. Like I'm not one of those people who can like get drunk and be a good, nice drunk. I am like the complete opposite. It brings out like the devil. And I don't even remember. I was saying something. I'm going to go to Taco Bell. I'm going to drive my car. And he was like hell, you're driving anywhere right now. And I was like, it's right up the street. I'll be fucking fine. Like, this is the kind of like rationale that drunk Caroline would bring out. I'll be fine. It's right up the street. And so he got out of bed when I was like, fuck you, I'm doing what I want. And I like grabbed my keys. He jumped out of bed. He like came right. So like we had a back door that went to the garage and like our bedroom was right back here. So he like jumped out of bed and ran to that door because I was like going out the door. And I think I saw him out of the corner of my eye. So I grabbed the door like this to like yank it open because I knew he was going to try and shut it. And he didn't even know that like my finger was in the door and he just slammed the door like, no, you're not going. Well, my finger got smashed in the door and it hurt so bad. Like, I mean, it was a bad, like, and he, of course, was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I didn't see your finger in the door, but like, you're not going anywhere. Well, of course, at that point, like, he didn't have to try and talk me out of it because I was like on the floor crying like an idiot. I was like sobbing hysterically. And he immediately was like, I need to call your sister. So he called my sister. I think she told me that we had like a 2-hour phone conversation that night. I don't even remember. But that was kind of like the work. Like, I remember that next day being like, what is the matter with me? Like, why do I do that? Because I would like the next day I would kind of come to and be sober and be like, why do I act like this? Why do I constantly inflict this like pain on people I love? Like, why? And my thing was, why do I take it to that next level? Why? Why do I do that? Why do I take it to that level? Why can't I just be a person who like hits here and I'm fine here? Why do I always have to take it up here? I do this with food. Why? Why am I never fucking satisfied? And this is a question I asked myself for a long motherfucking time. It was quite literally the bane of my existence, you guys. Like, I didn't know why I did all these things. And my sister would be like, why is it never enough? Why is it never enough just to like do this and like have a good time? Why do you always have to make it like the worst? And I didn't know, it took me a really long time to figure that out. So moving forward, let's see, what timeline are we on? That didn't stop me. I still was acting like an idiot and drinking too much and getting drunk and treating my loved ones like shit. And then the drinking, it slowed down when I started having kids. It did. But then when I had Bryn, she was a really tough baby. Like, you couldn't, like, I would have friends over to like pick her up and like hold her like normal people do. And she would just start screaming. Like, no one could hold her. No one knew why. But she was a very, very, very tough baby. And hormonally, I was dealing with postpartum depression as well. That was like the recipe for absolute disaster. So I was staying at home with both kids. It was really hard, really hard. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. I'm not meant to be a stay-at-home mom. I'm fine now admitting that. I had a lot of shame attached to that for a long time. Like, I didn't even want to like say that out loud because I was like, oh my God, like I have kids. I can't say that I'm not meant to be a stay-at-home mom. Like, people are going to think I'm a terrible mom. But like, I do believe that there are women who are like meant to do that and there are women who are not meant to do that, and I'm not. And so I started kind of just going nuts in my head, and like it was like Groundhog Day every day. Like, you wake up, try to find something to do with the kids. Well, we don't have enough money to go here every single day. Like, you can't, it's expensive. Like, you have kids, like taking them on play dates to the zoo gets expensive, especially if you're doing that every fucking day. So like, we didn't have the option to like go do stuff every single day. Well, I'm also not the crafty mom. So I'm not going to sit there and like do crafts all day. Like, I don't enjoy that. So I was struggling mentally. I was struggling hormonally from postpartum depression that I didn't even know about until after I had started my transformation, which was this, you guys, was a year or two down the road. So I didn't even know this was going to happen yet. So I didn't know that I was struggling with that. But I started drinking again. I was like, fuck it, I guess I'll just start drinking. I was drinking wine at this point, like a little bit more sophisticated, I guess, than Natty Light. But like, I was drinking 1 or 2 glasses a day, and it was taking the edge off. It was doing the trick. I felt great. I was like, man, this is nice. Like, it was kind of that, like, let me go back to escaping. I just want to escape and not feel what I'm feeling. But I didn't know why. And 2 glasses a day quickly turned into 3. And then 3 turned into like, sometimes I would drink a whole bottle of wine, and I would start at like, some days I would start at like noon. Like, what does it matter? I'm going to be here all fucking day. Josh isn't going to get home. If he would call me and say I'm not going to be home till 7 o'clock, I would be like, oh my God, like, what am I going to do all day? Like, I don't know. These are, again, like, I still do have, like, I can't not like attach a small amount of shame to these feelings. I'm trying really hard not to. But that's how I felt. That is how I felt during that time. And when when you have these feelings and you don't know why, and you don't know why you're having these thoughts, it's confusing, but then you immediately are like, why are you taking for granted what you have? You have a beautiful husband who goes to work so you don't have to every day. You have 2 beautiful, healthy children. What the fuck are you complaining about? Why are you even complaining? You shouldn't be complaining about anything. There's people who have a lot to complain about, and you're not one of them. So then the guilt comes, and you're like, I'm the biggest piece of shit. Why am I feeling like this? Why? And then it's just like a sick cycle of like shame and guilt. And then you start berating yourself, and they're like, well, I guess I'll just drink more because that makes everything feel better for a period of time. So this began a very vicious cycle, and it got really bad. It got so bad that my sister and my husband were like literally on the edge of staging an intervention. Just between the 3 of us, they were going to sit me down and be like, look, something has to happen. Like, this has gotten out of hand. What's interesting is I didn't realize that it had gotten out of hand. And it was right around that time that they were getting ready to do that. And I randomly, one of my friends was doing a transformation with this coach out of Oklahoma City. And I was like, I think I want to do that. I think I want to do that too. And Josh was like, do it. And at the time, like, he was really kind of pushing me to do that. And I didn't know why. I was like, why do you want me to lose weight? He's like, I don't give a shit if you lose weight or not. I just think that like it would help with the drinking. And that was his angle. He was like, it did get to a point where I was kind of hem-hawing about it, and he knew like I didn't stick with shit. So he was like, you are going to do this like or else. And I don't want you to do it for like I love you the way you are. I've been with you for 20 or however many years at that point, 10, 15 years. He was like, I don't care what your body looks like. Like, I want you to do this for the drinking. I think the drinking needs to stop. And so I signed up, and had I not taken that chance and or made that decision, I really don't know what my life would look like right now. I don't. I have no idea what it would look like. I say that because I had done the same thing over and over and over and over with alcohol. Like, it just kept reappearing in my life. It kept coming back and kept fucking shit up over and over and over. But I didn't know how to stop it. Like, I was powerless to stop. I didn't know what to do. Because it made me feel better for a period of time, and then it would go away, and then I would just keep drinking. And it's just that you get in that cycle of like, okay, I know I don't want to do this, but how do I stop? And it was very similar to like my addictions with food. I've talked about those very openly. So what I did, hang on, I want to make sure. Okay, right here. What I did was I wrote this down. I transitioned my focus to something else. And this, being someone who struggles with OCD and like all or nothing mentality, like that's what quite literally like saved me from alcohol. I took what I was doing and I was like, let's do something else. And I'll throw every part of my being into something else. And thankfully, it was like something that was good for me. I got into working out, and I was eating better. I was eating a lot better. I was eating more healthy than I ever had in my entire life. And I felt, I want to stop and just insert how much better I felt. I had energy that I had never had, ever. I did not feel sluggish anymore. Like during the day when you wake up and you feel just like sluggish, I didn't feel like that anymore. I had energy to make it through. Not only did I have energy to make it through the day, I was like excited to wake up. I was like excited to like be alive and like go to the gym and work out and like be with my kid. Like my kids loved it because they got to go and like hang out at the little kid care at the gym, and they got to play. It was a really nice break for all of us. So like it was good to get them out of the house. It was good to get me out of the house and burn off some of that anxious energy. And for the first time in my life, I realized that I was on a good path. And I knew it. Like I felt it. I knew it. I knew this was good for me. And I kind of just went gung-ho. Like I was all in at this point. I mean, I was working out like 2 hours a day. And I still had those moments of like, I want to drink. I want to eat what I want to eat. But I didn't, because I had committed, I spent a lot of money on this trainer and I didn't want to waste that. So with it being like a financial commitment for the first time in my life, that held me to it. hiring a coach and paying for a coach, I was like, I can't piss this away. Like, I'm spending money and effort and time, and I don't want to just like, it wasn't like a fad diet that I had tried in the past. I actually, for the first time in my life, had guidance. I will say that was probably the catalyst. Like, that was the one different thing that I hadn't done in the past. I had someone who was guiding me and telling me, this is how you're supposed to do it. This is what you need to do every day. Well, I'm a really good student. So if you tell me what to do, I'm going to fucking do it. I've always been like that. So I did. And I saw results. And once I started seeing results about 3 months in, those first 3 months were hard. I don't want to discount and just say this was super easy. I can't tell you how many times I almost wanted to quit. Over the past 6 years, probably 10,000 times have I wanted to quit. I wanted to quit 10,000 times yesterday. Yesterday was fucking hard. But I haven't just taken the white flag and thrown it in the air yet. That's the one thing I haven't done. And I want to intertwine this with in regards to alcohol, food addiction, anything you're really struggling with and trying to make a change. Like, the one thing I can say that will get you success is just to just not ever really quit and give up. And that's all I used to do. I would just roll over and quit. 12 o'clock would roll around and I'd be like, fuck it, whatever I've been doing, I'm not doing it anymore. My diet's done. Might as well start drinking. Like, at some point you have to do something different if you want something different out of your life. And for me, it wasn't like, oh, I want something different, I'm going to do something different. I wasn't thinking about it like that. I was at a point of like rock bottom. Like, I was at rock fucking bottom, and I had a family at stake. Like, I didn't want to lose my family, and I knew I had to do something different to keep living the life I knew I wanted to live. And I knew, here's the thing. I knew, even as a child, like, I knew I had something like to offer, to give, but I never knew what it was, ever, until recently. And when I was at my lowest point, like, I was like, this is not the fucking life I am supposed to be living. Like, I know that deep down. I know that I have something tangible to offer people. I just don't know what that is right now, but I know I'm better than this. Like, I know I am better than this, and I'm stronger than this. So taking a hold of that was really liberating. It was like, okay, you can do this, so just fucking do it and shut up and stop bitching about it. That's quite literally what I told myself day in and day out. On the days that I was struggling, I was like, shut the fuck up and just do it. Like, you can do this. If you want to have like big, great things in your life, it starts right here. And it's true. So, I feel like I've touched on most of like the tough points. I'm trying to think. I don't want to miss anything out. I don't want to leave anything out before I move into this next phase of what I'm going to talk about, because, 2020 challenged everyone. 2020, like, business-wise, didn't challenge me. It did, I guess. But the thing that challenged me the most in 2020 was 2020 was the year that I like started drinking more than I ever have in the past 6 years since I stopped drinking completely. Nothing crazy. Like, I don't drink anymore like I used to. There's no point. And I feel like shit, and I can't do the things I want to do, like run a business and try to go to the gym and work out and feel good. So I don't ever exceed 3 drinks. I really don't exceed 2 anymore. But that's because my life has changed. My kids are growing up, and things change. Like, our scenario has changed. There's no point. I don't drink during the week really, unless it's like a beer, like, and that's really it. Like, I don't like make a cocktail or make 2 or 3 cocktails during the week. On the weekend, sometimes we will, but again, like, I know there's a point, and I don't pass that point anymore because there's no point. There's no point to pass that point. Nothing good comes out of it. I've learned that. It's taken me years. But I will say that when COVID started around this time last year, when COVID started and we were stuck at home, I started drinking beer. I was like, I'm not going to start making like hard cocktails and shit, but I'll have a beer here and there. I mean, we were stuck at home and nothing else to do. What the fuck does it matter? So I started doing that. It was fine. Nothing crazy happened. And then we sold our house. And then we sold our house, and then I had my explant surgery, and then we moved, and then Lulu died. So I'm able now to look back and realize that that's a lot of trauma just kind of stacked on top of one another. And I will never forget, I came home, losing my dog was really hard. She was like my companion. So it was like losing a companion. And like coming home and realizing that like I don't have her to talk to anymore and like pick up and snuggle, like it was really hard. And it was unexpected and very traumatic the way she died. So I've talked about that in a past episode. So I came home and just went straight for the liquor. I mean, I literally like grabbed, I think we had tequila or something in the freezer. And I mean, I just started like pouring shots. And I was talking to my sister, sent her a picture or something. And I was like, I can't even eat. All I want to do is just take shots. And she was like, okay, well, I'm going to be checking on you here in the next week or two. And I'm like, whatever, I'll be fine. She was like, well, okay, that's fine. But I'm still going to check on you. This is fine. Like you can grieve and this is okay. But like, I'm going to check in 2 weeks and make sure you're not still grieving like this. And I was like, okay, whatever. And Josh said the same thing. Like he came home and I'll never forget that look on his face. He looked at me and he was like, that's not going to help. Like, why are you doing that? Like, I instantly saw like old Caroline in his eyes. Like he was like, what are you doing? And I was like, I haven't even had one. Like I just poured it. He's like, how do I know that? Like, please don't do this again. And I was like, it's not going there. I promise. And it didn't. I knew that. I knew well enough not to go down that path. So I didn't. It lasted like 2 days and then that was it. I was fine. Okay. So I want to make some points now. I had a question. How do you remain focused on something? Or no, I said how to remain focused on something positive so that you can stay on track. So like I said in the beginning of my transformation, like that was something I had never done before. And I was seeing good things come out of it for the first time. So like I saw, not only did I see changes in myself physically, but I saw changes in myself mentally, the way I was holding myself, my self-confidence grew. Because of all those things happening and because my self-confidence was growing, I treated people, I have a hair in my, sorry. I treated people differently. And because of that, I was then treated differently. So, when you're like real frustrated and you're like spinning your wheels, you're like, why is this person like just kind of like gnawing at people? Like, why are they the way they are? My sister was always there to be like, why are you the way you are? Maybe if you change the way, you're talking to Josh, maybe he'll change the way he talks to you. And I remember getting so fucking mad at her when she said that to me, but it was so true. It was so true. So when I stopped drinking and was in the middle of my transformation, I didn't even notice that I was doing it, but I was treating everybody around me so differently that changed the way everybody was treating me, and I liked it. So my relationships were getting better with my friends. My relationship with my sister was 1,000,000 times better. My relationship with my husband was 1,000,000 times better. All these things were like going in such a different direction, and I liked that. It was like my whole life was, I hate to be cheesy, but my whole life was changing for the better. Because I took control over something I had never previously had control over, because I had hit rock bottom and I knew I needed a change. And I don't want to discount the effort that I put in. I still had to do it. I still had to wake up every day and not drink. I still had to wake up every day and like make a choice to go to the gym when I wanted to sit at home and crack a bottle of wine. I still wanted to do those things. I had to make that choice not to. And the way that I did it, and the way that I still do this, is I focus on things I want out of life. So good things. So like now I finished my second book. I want my second book to be huge. My sister's editing it. Once it's done, I'm hiring a publishing company this time around. I'm not doing it self-published. That was a mess. But I want to do it like that's a goal. That is something I want to see happen, and I want it to be big. I want this podcast to be fucking huge. I want more people to subscribe and to listen and to watch, and I want to help more people. I have so many goals and dreams for myself that I have to stay uber focused on those so that I don't stay uber focused on the things that are bad for me. And they're still there. Like people say that when you struggle with alcoholism, like you're always going to be like that. You're going to wake up every day and struggle with that. It's true. I wake up every day and I think about food all day. I've had this since I was a kid. I think about food all day and I obsess about it all day, but I have to fill my time with other things so that I'm not letting myself just obsess about the things that are not good for me. Does that make sense? So like, find something that you want to do and do it. Commit. Don't let anything else get in your way. When you're having a day, distract yourself. That is one of my best pieces of advice. So like when people used to say, well, how do like the kids and Josh have like pizza delivered to the house? How do you not eat that? How do you stay on plan? I would go, like when I was on prep, I would go take a hot shower while they ate pizza. And I know, this is a little bit more into like this like uber discipline mentality that I was in at that point, but it worked. Like it was effective. If you don't want to do something, don't let yourself do it. It's that simple. And I know that it's not that simple when you're in that environment and you're in that situation where you're presented with that challenge, but it is at the end of the day. It's a fucking choice. And I talk about choices all the fucking time. All we have are choices. Every single day you wake up, you have a choice. You have a choice to get out of the bed in the morning. You have a choice to eat breakfast in the morning before you go to work. You have a choice of how much caffeine you're going to drink that day. You have a choice if you're going to the gym. You have a choice how you treat people. You have a choice how you react to every situation. And that was something I was so out of control of for so long that now I feel like I'm getting better at it. It's still hard. It's still hard because I want to uber control everything. And so then I micromanage everybody else's choices. And that's something I'm working on in therapy. But I feel like I'm getting a little off track here. At the end of the day, like, what do you want? What do you really want? What do you need? Like, are you at a low point right now where like you are struggling so hard that you don't know what tomorrow is going to look like? Okay, so what do you want? Is that what you want for your life? If it's not, then, and I don't want to discount saying that like we need help when we're in those situations. I couldn't do that by myself. It took my husband and my sister damn near giving me an ultimatum of like, yeah, you better sign up for this or else. I had people in my life who cared about me that helped me. I don't know that I could have done it on my own. So with that being said, if any of you are watching that are struggling with anything, not just alcohol, if you're struggling with your mental health right now and you're like, just feel like, what's the fucking point of going on another day? Like, reach out to me. I have my link tree that is literally put on every single one of these podcast episodes, and you can click it and fucking email me. I check my email every day, all day. I will be an ear to listen if you are struggling mentally. I struggle myself mentally. I was just talking to a client this morning about how, I said something to my sister the other day. I was like, I just feel so apathetic a lot of the days now. Like, why? And she was like, I do too. And, I want to bring this into this because, it is those are the feelings that bring on like drinking and doing all these other things, because you're like, what the fuck does it matter? Why does it matter what I eat every day? We're probably going to be quarantined again at some point. Like, why am I even, why do I care? Why does any of this shit even matter anymore? Well, it does. It matters. And you can't give up. You can't give up. You can't stop. You have to keep going. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be perfect every day and follow your fucking plan every day and be Little Miss Jim Bunny every day. That's not what I mean. I mean, you just can't stop. You just can't like wave the white flag and say, I'm done. And I know that a lot of us are thinking that, and I kind of want to normalize that because I feel like it's important too. I feel like I would be doing a disservice if I didn't acknowledge the fact that like a lot of us feel like we're drowning now. Since the pandemic hit, a lot of us are just, what's the point? What does it matter? What does anything matter? I mean, does anything really matter anymore? No, it does though. So I want to just reiterate that. And again, say that if any of you are struggling mentally, please reach out to me. Please. I am here. I will talk to you. Shoot me an email. I'll give you my cell phone number and we will chat. Because I've been there. I know that feeling of just like helplessness and hopelessness. And a lot of people don't. There's people who don't deal with that. My husband is one of them. He doesn't have days like that. He's not wired to think like that. I don't know if it's a mental thing. I don't know if it's the way you were brought up. I don't know, but he doesn't struggle in that aspect. He never has. So that, again, that's a challenge because it's hard. But then again, it's kind of good. We're a yin and a yang, and he's able to kind of bring me out of that a lot and be like, it's okay. Like, why are you stressing? And I'm like, how are you not stressing? And he's like, because it is the way it is. There's nothing to stress about. Telling someone who is like a chronic stressor, it's actually pretty funny. So someone else said, okay, so I said, I stay busy, I journal, I focus on my long-term goals, and I have a support system, which is Community with Caroline. To be honest, I don't know where I would be if I did not start Community with Caroline. I really don't. That was the point where I started that was when I was at, again, like, what am I going to do? Oh shit. It was after I had competed in the show and I had still I kept kind of transitioning goals. So like when I started my transformation, it was like, okay, I lost the weight. Now what? Okay, now I want to build muscle. Now what? Okay, now I'm going to compete in a show and win. Well, I lost and I got last place. So I was really deflated and I was like, what am I going to do next? I didn't know, but I was like at that point where I was like, okay, I don't want to keep going here. I know that. I don't want to go further up the ladder. I want to find balance in my life and I want to enjoy the foods I want to enjoy, but I also want to like maintain what I've worked so hard for physically for the past 6 years. So I started Community with Caroline, and it to say like it has come so far would be the understatement of the century. When I started, there was 20 girls and it was like me hosting a challenge and, writing meal plans, and to like what it is now, it's like a full blown business. Like it's crazy. It's crazy, but we're like over 2,000 members, and like I have goals to get to 5,000 this year, which we will hit no matter what. My second book is going to come out. Like I want to continue doing the podcast. There's all these goals I have, but I have to remain uber focused on all these goals so that I do what's best for me. And that's my way. You have to have a support system. This is my way of staying on track. I now have the support system of over 2,000 women. And my clients are like family to me. So my clients check in on me. When Lulu died, I had the biggest, it was almost like a group hug, it felt like, of all of my girls in the community being there to support me and help me through that when she died, because they knew how bad that crushed me. And that, I never really had that. And so now I do. And like we all have it. It's not just me. Like everyone who is a part of the community has that support system at their disposal every single day. And I'm proud of that. I'm proud that like I built that. And if you're not a part of the community, you need to join our group. It's a free group on Facebook, Community with Caroline. And we want you to be a part of it. Share it with your friends. Tell them to be a part of it. Someone else asked, how do I handle drinking socially now? I think I touched a little bit on that earlier. We're not social butterflies, but I'm fine to go out and have a cocktail or two at lunch with Dana or, the girls. And I'm fine. I've really kind of, there's no point. I've learned that there's no point in going past a certain amount, especially now at the age I am and with what I have to lose. It's not worth it. The food thing, I want to just I still sometimes will go a little overboard with my food. It's way few and further between than it used to be. I mean, it used to be like a daily thing. But again, it's because what's the point? I have other things I want to remain focused on, and that just clouds my judgment when I let myself go into that area or that arena of thinking. And it's only going to pause everything else that I have going on. And I don't want to pause anything. I just want to keep moving forward. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps someone. JJ is going to have a real fun time putting up all these pictures, because I don't even think I made a point to say when to do it. Anyway. But that's basically the end of my story with alcohol. It was a long, long, long journey. Could not have crawled out of it alone. I had to have support. My husband and my sister were there to pull me out of the dark depths when I needed them the most. So again, I want to reiterate the fact that you do need help with others. You have to have someone helping you if you're at that point. It's very hard to do it on your own. I'm sure some people could do it on their own, but I don't know of a lot that could. And I will be an ear if you are struggling, even if it's not alcohol related. If it's pandemic related and you're mentally struggling, please reach out to me. Aside from that, I'm going to stop it here. 20th episode of CWC podcast. This was crazy. Like from day one, I was like, oh my God, I can't wait till the day we have 20 episodes. And now we're at 20 episodes. Like, it's just nuts. But I'm always, always, always open for what you guys want to hear more of or hear of. So please let me know, like comment under the video and say, do one about this or whatever it may be. We are going to be doing another sex podcast for sure. We will probably just do our own little series of sex ones because there's always things to talk about. But I was shocked at the feedback from the last sex episode we did, which was the first one. But I mean, a lot of women reached out to me and they were basically saying like, well, yeah, I have a stigma with sex because I was emotionally abused or physically abused, raped. And I want to go into that. I'm thinking of having a sex therapist on to help me facilitate that episode so that I want to make sure that we touch on all of those things that, I don't know. It really was hard the other day, those messages that I was receiving, because it was like, it gave me chills reading some of the things these women have been through. And so that, of course, plays into that whole realm and kind of how our society views sex. I want to talk about that too. So we will be doing another sex episode very soon. If there's anything you guys want to hear about, please shoot. I want to know. And that's it for the 20th episode of CWC Podcast. And I will see you guys later. Thank you for checking out the CWC podcast. If you want to learn more about our community, make sure to check out the show notes.